You're listening to Otto's Powerhouse. Otto's Powerhouse.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Patos Powerhouse. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to sit behind the microphones and talk to you, my favorite people. I apologize for leaving you out to dry for a long time, for leaving you. It's been a long time. I should have left you without a dope beat. Step two. Okay, never mind. I'm just saying is thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with my stuff, my shit. All I'm saying is lately I've been given the preference to cursory overload because coordinating time with that motherfucker over there on the East Coast is such a pain in the ass that, I mean, it's a challenge. So it's very challenging, and I'm always like trying to make time so that we can sit down and record. In the past 2 weeks, we got half an episode recorded. We were supposed to get back to that, but unfortunately he's in the process of another job change or some bullshit like that, or doing something. Anyway, bottom line, there's always something up with K-Dog. Ever since I've known him, I mean, you know, that's my friend K-Dog. Anyway, bottom line is, thank you for being here. Today is September 11, 2020, 19 years after, well, 9/11, as we refer to it now. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it because, well, we should never forget. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there now. 19 years later, I mean, there's so much stuff people talk about. You know, like it was an inside job. It was this. It was Bin Laden. It was, you know. Regardless, right now, I don't want to focus right now on the political aspect of it. I want to focus on the people that were lost, on the first responders that gave their lives to try to save those people, to try to work in that horrific and tragic event. A lot of people, you know, remember those who gave their lives in 9/11, 2001. And the survivors, you know, remember that, you know, this is something horrific that happened. It's the first time that we as Americans realized that we weren't untouchable. I was reminiscing, thinking about this. 19 years ago, I was working a graveyard shift, pretty much like I did last night. When the time came around, I remember I was still at work, and I was remembering that back then, 19 years ago, I was working at this call center for one of the first high-speed internet providers. We used to work in there at that call center, and I used to work there. And what I'm saying is that I remember, in order to make the night go by easier, I've always listened to the radio. And back then, it was Power 92. That was, I think it was KKFR 92.3 here in Phoenix. Power 92. So I was listening to, well, I would listen all night, obviously, to stay up. But right around real early in the morning, the morning show would start. And back then it was Crazy Kid and Ruben S. And those two fools, I mean, you know, they were always clowning around. They were always doing something. You know, they would pull pranks on people. They had this thing that they would call the breakfast beatdown, where one of those, I think it was usually Ruben S, was the one taking the hit. I mean, fucking Crazy Kid was behind the microphones hiding somewhere. Well, I don't know. Actually, no, Crazy Kid did it too. I got it. They were shows where Crazy Kid would take one for the team too. But what I'm saying is they would go into a restaurant, walk around, look at someone and like, hey, that looks good. And then grab the plate and take off with it. And of course, they would get chased, and obviously they would. It was called the breakfast beatdown. Obviously, I think Ruben almost got his ass beat once, and I think the legal department there pulled the plug on the breakfast beatdown. They told him, "Hey, no more of that." But they were known for doing pranks like that, or prank calling people, once they were really big on pranks. So when they reported about the plane crashing into one of the towers, my first thought is like, really, motherfuckers, come on, this isn't funny. But and even I think some people started calling in like, dude, that's not funny. Then I remember Crazy Kid had like this high-pitched voice, but his voice was just like serious. There was a different tone to it, and he was telling people like, look, turn on your televisions, basically telling people we're not bullshitting. This is some serious shit. A second plane just crashed into the other tower. And I remember I was working there. I was listening, sitting there, went to one of the break rooms, watched it on TV, still sitting there in disbelief. I mean, we were touchable. Something had happened. Since I was young, I've always been a conspiracy theorist. So, after the whole Timothy McVeigh thing, I thought like, was it an inside job? Was it us? Was it Al Qaeda? What was it? I mean, it was like confusion, but the biggest thing, it was painful. And American lives were lost. People on those planes, people in those towers. And today is 19 years, and we take the time to honor, observe, and remember those people. Now, conspiracy theories aside and all that, like I said, we leave that out right now. Today, I just want to focus on remembering the lives, the people, the first responders, and how, as Americans, when one part of America hurts, the entire country feels it. After the 9/11 incident, for a few weeks, we all were so much nicer to each other. It's fucking incredible. I mean, and I don't want a disaster to have to happen for us to do that. Right now, there's a lot of division, and it's been strategically placed that way. The last 4, 5, 6 years. And once again, I could be politically, my last blog, I wrote about this. I've been blogging a lot. I wrote that sometimes I've been meaning to record an episode of The Powerhouse, but I recorded and then I hit delete because I get politically charged. And you know what? I'm going to say it. This administration has done nothing but divide us. They've planted seeds of division, and it's horrible. And I was just thinking of how after that horrible incident 19 years ago, we were all so much nicer to each other. I pray and hope that we do not need to go through something like that in order to understand that we need to step it up and be nicer to each other. Not only be nicer to each other, learn to respect each other. Like I said, we don't have to sit there, hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But have mutual respect for all the different type of Americans there is. Because America is not white, it's not brown, it's not black, it's not yellow. America is all of that. America comes in different shapes, forms, sizes, ethnic backgrounds. Anyway, All I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, is take the time to remember. Some of you may be as old as I am and might have remember, what were you doing 9/11 2001? Like I said, I was working, kind of like I found myself this morning, working a graveyard shift, thinking about right around that time, because the Crazy Kid used around 5 a.m. That's when the morning show used to start, and that's when they started talking about the events in New York. And like I said, because I heard it first from Crazy Kid and Ruben S. back in the day. At first, I thought that it was those two pulling a prank. Sadly, it wasn't. Well, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. 9/11, remembering 9/11. Also wanted to tell you that goes along with what I normally tell you all. Take the time to be with your loved ones. Show them you love them. Be there for them. And I know it's easier said than done, right? But we have to figure out a way to do it. We have to. As I was saying, time to spend time with family. As I was saying that, my phone went off, and it's a phone call that I had to take. Anyway, it's easier said than done. I've said that. But especially nowadays, we got this COVID-19 out there. We got God knows what, regular flu season coming soon, and then there is horrible, terrible things that can happen, like what happened 19 years ago. So tomorrow's not promised to any one of us, so let's make the most of today. Live each day like it's your last one, because it very well could be. Take the time to be with your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Show them you love them, because, well, when it's all said and done, that's what's important. And showing people you love them doesn't mean that you're always there all like, ooh, look how cute you are. I love you. I love you. No, that doesn't mean that. It means that you're there for them. You provide for them. Sometimes when you love people, you do so much for them that in the background that they don't see it. And sometimes the only time people realize that stuff is gone is when you're no longer around. When they realize that, oh, this is what mom did. Oh, this is what dad did. Or this is what this other person did for me. And I never took the time to notice or appreciate it, because it just felt like everyday routine. It was just something he did. It was just something that it was there. Never noticed that all that was there for me to just reach out for things, because mom and dad were doing this in the background that I never took the time to notice, or this other person did this. It happens a lot. Well, this is going to be my 9/11, what were you doing in 9/11 episode. If you want to share with me what you were doing in 9/11, 19 years ago, if you happen to be around back then, you want to share with me, pdghostwriter@gmail.com, or go to patodg.com and contact page. You can reach me there, or thepodcastshack.com. Eventually, I think we're going to end up consolidating into thepodcastshack.com. Probably the only other ones that are going to, I don't know. This is just something I've been thinking. I don't know. I'm just spitballing right here. In the meantime, you guys have an awesome weekend, awesome day, whatever it is that this is. That's a story for another day. Later.
Hey, vato, escuché tu podcast en inglés. Dijiste motherfucker. Le voy a decir a tu mamá para que te dé una chinga, cabrón hocicón.